All available at UConnTickets.com. I'd like to see some Husky fans on the road. Wouldn't that be nice?
I just like seeing Husky fans anywhere. It's awesome. Yes.
So a night game to kick it off. Offensive lines. There we go. See, if each one of these people, I don't know, maybe there's 50, 60, 70, I'd lose track. But if they all went out and got 4 people to buy tickets, we'd fill the place. We'd get people in the seats.
I hear we're getting closer. I think excitement's being generated. There's a family member of mine that's putting up signs all over campus. Come to the football game. Thursday night, 7:30, take the bus.
Right, get on the bus.
Listen, we're always grateful for whoever is there. And the people that can't be there, hey, hopefully they come next week. But, I get upset when people criticize fans because it's our job to bring fans into the stadium by the way we play. You're spending your hard-earned money. It needs to be worth it. And I always appreciate and value the people that were in the stadium. Look, last year we played Liberty, and I think it was one of our smallest crowds of the year. I think it was like 15,000 people, which is, they get more than that at a high school game in Texas. But the juice in that place was off the charts. You'd have thought there was 45,000, 50,000 people in there. So that's what matters to me. I want it full. Don't get me wrong. I want it freaking packed.
Of course.
Because that means we're having success, and that means people are excited about the program. But I just appreciate the people that are there.
By the way, when that place is full, and it has been full before in the history of this program, that place rocks. It is loud. It's hard to play in there.
Well, just based off that Liberty game when there was, like I said, 15,000 people, and it felt like it was, full to the gills. So it was, I can imagine if it's packed. And it's such an amazing. Well, first of all, our players have worked really hard for the opportunity to play in front of people. They love it. The energy that fans provide can't be overstated. There is such thing as a home field advantage. And it's fun. It's fun to be in that environment. But once again, it's up to us to do something about it as a team, to play the type of football that people want to see in person and spend their money and their Saturday coming to watch. And so that's part of our mission.
And you have a favorable schedule to begin with in that you're home, I believe, 4 out of 5 weeks. And, September, great weather in this part of the country. To me, there ain't no way you're not coming to a football game in September here.
Yeah,
if you're a football fan.
Well, unless your team sucks.
Well, but that's not an issue for us.
No,
I
hope not. The objective is that the team doesn't suck. The objective is that we put a team out there that people want to come and watch, that want to get behind, that get excited about, that tell their friends about. UConn's got a great sports history, and it revolves mostly around basketball, and then I think baseball and hockey and all those things as well. But football, we've got to make football part of the conversation. That's our job, and that's what we're trying to do.
Quickly, offensive line, 29th last year out of 131 schools, sacks allowed. Did a good job. Obviously, you ran the ball well, 190-plus yards a game. That's awesome. You lost your center to graduation. Tell us about who's playing center, and how does that offensive line come back together and play like that again?
Well, they're very well coached, number one, by Gordy Sammis. He's one of the, look, I've been around some great offensive line coach, fortunately, in my career, and he's right up there with the best. And I'm talking about NFL guys that are revered NFL offensive line coaches, the Bob McKittricks and the Alex Gibbs and the, Tom Cables. Guys that are household names if you're a football fan. And in Gordy Sammis, we've got a guy that, I'm not afraid to mention in the same breath as those guys. And then, you got guys like Christian Haynes and Val and Chase and Noel that are returning starters that really care. They work together so well. They're smart. And then whoever we put at center, whether it's moving Christian in there and having Chris Fortin or Yakari play guard, or putting Yakari at center, or having Chris Fortin play center, we're just going to put the best 5 in there and hope that they all can stay healthy the entire year, because I don't know that there's a group that it's more important stays cohesive and healthy throughout a 12-game season as much as it is for the offensive line to stay that way. And I think one of the reasons that we were able to run the ball effectively last year and limit sacks was we were able to play the same guys.
Yeah, five guys I think started every game. I think.
I believe so. And that's a big deal at that position. They have to work. They have to work together. They have to work so well together. They have to act as one on every single play, or you're not going to have a successful offensive play. And those guys, with the combination of those types of men that we have and the type of man we have coaching them, it's a heck of a group, man. It's a heck of a group.
And behind that is the quarterback. Obviously, the quarterback is the player that everyone talks about on every level of football. You've got three good ones, maybe more coming your way as young guys. But let's get to those three guys who battled for the last 6 weeks trying to become the quarterback for UConn. First of all, Zion Turner had a pretty darn good year for a true freshman last year. Helped lead the team to 6 wins. He's a proven winner. And so he's the incumbent guy. Then you got Taquan Roberson, who's got a great background, went to Penn State, came here, got injured. And you got a guy from Maine, Joe Fagnano, who we didn't know much about. Now, I watched him a few times in practice throw the football, and he looks legit throwing the football. So tell me what goes into deciding which quarterback you're going to use on opening night against NC State.
Well, every analytic imaginable in terms of, completion percentage, drop ratio, decision-making, mental errors, missed assignments, technique errors, how they're comprehending the offense, decision-making, everything you can measure goes into it. And those three guys, along with Tucker McDonald, who's a freshman, all just really competed their tails off. I mean, it's important to them. They're serious about it. While they competed hard against each other, they also supported each other. But they all want to be the starter. And Taquan started the year last year as a starter. Got hurt after the first drive. Takes us 79 yards for a touchdown. His opening drive of his college career as a starter. Then he blows out his knee. Just works as hard as you can imagine. Grit, determination, commitment to get himself back to where he can be competitive again in camp, and he was wildly competitive. And then, as you mentioned, Zion being the winner that he is. If you look at his history as a player, he's a winner. Last year he lost more games last year in 12, 13 games than he's lost in his entire life combined. So he's a winner. And then you bring in a guy, in Joe Fagnano, who, he's taken the most snaps of any of them. He's thrown the most passes of any of them. He's thrown for the most yards, the most touchdowns, the fewest interceptions, all those things. And he knows our system very well. He's a big physical guy. He's 6'3", 225. He's kind of a prototypical, looking quarterback. So you have three guys that are really competitive. And it was a tough decision. It was a really, 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 really tough decision on many, many levels. And, we decided to go with Joe. And at the end of the day, you take all those analytics, all those measurables, and then you have to trust your eyes. At least that's what I believe, and I have to trust, what I see, what I feel, what Nick sees, what Nick feels. You have to pick the guy that you feel is going to give you the best chance to have success offensively. And, we like them all. So the fact that we chose Joe is not a slight to Zion or Taquan or even Tucker. It's just that, he was the guy right now that we feel gives us the best chance. And I think we all feel pretty good about the decision. And what's great is that if for some reason, and we know there's a million variables that can happen, if for some reason Joe can't go, man, Taquan's ready to go, Zion's ready to go. So it's a good problem to have.
Yes, no doubt about that. The running backs are all quick. They're all fast. Victor Rosa had a breakout season as a freshman. He scored 9 touchdowns. But Devontae Houston, Brian Bruton was hurt a lot last year, and you got Jalen Mitchell coming here from Louisville to help replace Nate Carter, who went to Michigan State. When you look at running backs, does it matter if you don't have size? Because UConn doesn't have a lot of size guys back there, but they have lightning quick speed.
Well, we have 2 guys that are not as big as you'd ideally like, but have lightning quickness and speed. And Devontae and Brew. Devontae can run. I mean, he can run. You're not going to catch him. Brian has the jitterbug quickness, but Victor's a 207, 208-pound running back now. He was a 190-pounder last year. Well, he's put 18 pounds of muscle. There's no fat on that kid. Jalen's a 210-pounder. So there is some size there. And then you didn't mention Cam Edwards because we never talk about Cam because, you know, he switched from defensive back to running back. And all of a sudden you're looking at a guy and you're going, dang, this guy, he's not bad. You know, he was a Connecticut State Player of the Year 2 years ago, and we're kind of seeing why. And he's fitting into that role as a running back. He's a rocked up dude. Like, you know, you look at him, that's what a running back's supposed to look like there. Mm-hmm. So, and that's your fifth string guy. You know, if you were to say strings, I think running back's one position where you don't go first, second, third, fourth string. You go, you know, how many carries is this guy getting as opposed to this guy, as opposed to this guy? Because you're going to use them all. Like, we're going to use Devontae, we're going to use Brian Bruton, we're going to use Victor Rosa, we're going to use Jalen, and, you know, if Cam can continue to develop, we're going to use him.
Can we talk about tight ends?
Yes.
It's my favorite position. I'm an old-time Giant fan. I'm still love Mark Bavaro and those guys. Yeah. How important is it to find a real tight end to do damage? You got a guy from TCU, you got a guy from Michigan, but you have a lot of tight ends. Who is going to step forward? Who's going to be the guy that's going to be our Mark Bavaro?
Well, what's great is that they're all a little bit different, and they're all very unique. And so it's a very important position for us, the way we want to play offense. You know, as a defensive-minded guy, the thing that caused you nightmares was playing against teams that had good tight ends, that were versatile guys that could go in line and block, you could split them out, and they could catch the ball, because you're always trying to figure out a matchup, how to stop them. You know, do you put a linebacker on them? Well, they maybe out-athlete the linebacker. Do you put a defensive back on them? They outsize the defensive back. So, you know, you're playing cat and mouse, and if you have a really good one, you can kind of play Where's Waldo with him. You know, you can put him all over the field like we did with Justin Joly. So, you know, Justin Joly, who was a freshman All-American last year, just his versatility, his ability to, you know, go out and operate in space, his sure-handedness is a real bonus for us. You know, Alex Honig, who's the transfer from TCU, this is a 6'6", 265-pound kid that was a quarterback, has really amazing athleticism, just raw at the position. He hasn't played a lot of football. Louis Hansen, the transfer from Michigan, has a ton of versatility. We can put him in the backfield like we did Robert Burns. We can put him as an on-the-line tight end. We can flex him out. He's got really good hands. He's really smart. We use him at fullback some. You know, and that didn't even count, you know, Brandon Aminsky and Nick Harris, who played a lot for us last year. You know, Nick is right now, because Alex was hurt, you know, he's kind of our starting Y tight end. That's the on-the-line tight end. He was a defensive lineman when I first got here, you know, in the spring. But we looked at some tape of him in high school, and, you know, you're like, dang, this guy needs to be playing on offense. So it's a deep position. It's a very deep position, and the talent level there has really elevated.
All right, we're going to get to wide receivers. I got to talk about the safeties on this club. I love the safeties.
Yeah, me too.
We'll be back with Jim Mora. We continue on the UConn Football Coaches Show on Learfield.
All right, you're clear.